Welcome to Fragmented Pixels. Today I have a very special guest joining me on the channel, Baberuthless. In no particular order, we're going to share 4 standout box art covers from fighting games. I got inspired by her video on fighting game box art, so be sure to click the card in the top right corner to watch it. Without further ado, let's get into it. It's a very simple yet subdued cover, but it is very striking. It's very visually striking. Kazuya, Mishima on the front, and he's looking back. It just blows me away that this CG was done in 2000 or 1999. You can see all the detail on his face, the wisps of hair, the pores on his skin, his very tense expression with his thick, striking eyebrows. Yeah, he's got the anime hair, whatever. It's that realism that I think has that uncanny valleyness to it, but you know it's not real. I can just imagine if you were a kid picking up this game, looking at the box art or even seeing a poster of Kazuya going, who is this guy? Who is he? And of course, the iconic Tekken Tag Tournament logo with the stretched text, the bold kanji in the back, the lightning, the metallic, embossed look to it. I just love that. The logo is great. The very kitschy 2000s is on full display here. That's what I like about this box art. Love it.
The Darkstalkers series has some incredibly detailed and artistic sprites that are truly some of the best I've ever seen. Ideally, their box art needs to incorporate some aspect of that to properly represent the art style, and usually they knock it out of the park every time, regardless of the game and region. The pinnacle of their box art work is the overlooked Darkstalkers Chronicle, the Chaos Tower for the PSP, illustrated by Kino Nishimura. The folks in the Capcom marketing team knew they had gold here, since this was used as the universal box art for all regions. The cast appears to be more abstract at a glance, but it's when you stop to see the details of the characters that this cover truly shines. Right above the logo are the piercing red eyes of Sasquatch that make him look more sinister than he is in game. We also see Morrigan is lying out upside down to show off her beauty, and the game's resident villain, Dimitri, looks more mysterious than intimidating on the cover. The shadows here make it appear as if Dimitri were wearing a mask. It's an honest depiction of him, given in gameplay he only shows his vampiric form in split-second frames. The boss Pyron also appears in the distance, a looming ever-present threat to the cast. Design-wise, these characters are all very colorful. However, the artwork depicts them all in a dim light, with only the moon illuminating them, reflecting the dark, gothic, and eerie tone the game conveys so well. The way the characters are even arranged complements the PSP box itself, which is a tall and slender box. This also has them kind of form a tower, which evokes thoughts of the game's subtitle, Chaos Tower.
The NTSC cover for Soul Calibur 3 is the best one compared to the PAL and NTSC-J versions. What I like about this version is that it showcases legacy characters and a new character in the same sequence, making for a 3-dimensional composition. From left to right, we see Mitsurugi, Sasalamel, who plays a role in the game's story, and Ivy. There's also a successful contrast between the background and foreground that highlights the cloudy blue skies with the rocky terrain. This creates an intriguing cover. Its blue, gold, and black color scheme also complements the game's title logo and gives Nightmare's bloodied soul-edged sword a pop of color. I wish the PAL audience had this box art, but hey.
I'm sure we all know now that Capcom's Plasma Sword or Star Gladiator series allegedly started as a Star Wars game that had to be spun into its own thing without that branding. The Japanese box art for Star Gladiator 2, Nightmare of Bilstein on the Dreamcast, evokes that Star Wars-inspired ambiance. The cast posed in a mosaic arrangement around the central character, Hayato, holding a lightsaber. The characters around him are faded out from the center like a kaleidoscope of colors. The backdrop being in deep space is a great image and only adds to that effect. This comes together very well.
Compared to the other covers I've discussed here, this one is an illustration. Since it's a 2D fighter based on sprites, the artwork needs to create an impact and successfully convey the expressions of each character. And they certainly got that right. The iconic artwork for King of Fighters 95 was illustrated by Shinkido. He's instrumental in creating the look and art style for the series amongst other SNK titles at the time. On the cover, we see the main protagonist, Kyo Kusanagi, striking a pose while covering the lower part of his face. With his eyes being the main focus of the artwork, this creates a mysterious aura around him. With his sharp eyebrows on display, Kyo's striking eyes are doused in black eyeliner, accentuating his androgynous appearance. This is a pose I definitely see in a fashion magazine or an editorial spread. Interestingly, there's an experimental mixture of cursive, black letter, and sans serif typography in the title design. It's a hodgepodge of typeface and color choices. Additionally, there's a silver gradient seen on the large cursive 95 text to make the year of the game stand out, as the star seen just before the text seems to imitate an apostrophe. Very 90s. Overall, I like that the white background has negative space. This allows you to focus on Kyo as his gaze lures you in. As they say, the eyes are the windows to the soul. Shinkido did that.
Street Fighter II for the Super Nintendo in both PAL and NA territories took a more gritty approach to the box art design than in Japan. The Japanese cover has a vertical box for its SNES games and has become an iconic box art on its own, even being replicated in Smash for the Wii U. Outside of Japan, the box art has its anime aesthetic completely removed and instead is an incredible illustration by artist Mick McGinty. This goes for a more gritty look of Chun-Li fighting for her life from a bloodthirsty Blanca. This box art always gave the impression that the artist didn't know who these characters were or what this world was. However, I think it works to an advantage here, and it's an art style we never really see when it comes to Street Fighter. You might think that this green monster man is the last boss, showing it takes 2 characters to even challenge this guy. But Ryu getting knocked out signals the challenges that this game could offer. Also, we're in a street, so at least it's true to the title. In less capable hands, this box art could have gone down like the Mega Man 1 box art, but I'm glad we had someone who put their all into it.
The PAL cover is the best one, and I'll tell you why. It's the most brooding, the most illustrious, the most detailed. There is this dystopianism, allure, this smokes and mirrors type of atmosphere. There's a lot of lightning motifs, and that's a common motif in Tekken games. My interpretation is the calm before the storm. First of all, on the front, you can see Jin Kazama, Heihachi, his grandfather, and Kazuya, his dad. It's the first time, story-wise, that they interact in the game. The way the shadows are placed on Jin, giving it a mysterious, alluring look. Because if you think about it, this is the first time we've seen Jin in this aspect, in this way. Very aloof, very cold, very distant, and I love how that's portrayed here. One of my favorite Tekken outfits in the game. It's very 2000s, and you can see that because the colors used in the 2000s, the early 2000s especially, blue was a color that was in. It was 1999 that Pantone selected cerulean blue as the color of the millennium, the color of that year in particular, showing optimism, coolness, tranquility, all those things. So the use of that color, I think, gives away the time period this was created. The Tekken 4 logo with, again, the lightning motif with the metallic text in kanji. You also see it in English on top of it. It has a shiny, sleek, and chiseled in look to it, especially when it comes to the 4 because it is very huge. It's in your face. There are flames in there. And if you look at the CD of Tekken 4 as well, it just looks like it's gonna be the hardest mixtape of 2002, right? But on a serious note, amazing. I love this cover art, one of my favorites.
Immediately when gazing at this box art, you're shown the ultimate challenge of this game. The menacing Geese Howard with his men at his side, implying you have to get through them first. Geese's attire shows his high social class, which makes it clear he's on the top in more ways than just his strength, making you, the player, feel like an underdog. Geese's smug expression is the cherry on top since you want to take this guy down a peg.
And that concludes the video. It was great to talk about this topic and get Baberuthless's perspective. It's an integral part to fighting games. When you pick up a game, that's the first thing you see. That informs you to not only buy the game, but have an idea as to what the game could be about. The atmosphere, the world building, all those elements. To have box art as that first impression, I think is very powerful, and that has always fascinated me. Shout out to her, and be sure to check her out on all socials. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video.